Hello everyone, this is Man Faces, and today I'm finally ready to discuss my survival beta build, levels 1 through 30. So this build might be a lot different from anything you guys seen out there. Basically, I just adapted the Commando build for survival. And honestly, survival's a lot different than the old survival. I believe that very hard mode will become the old survival mode, because when you go to very hard, you get the bullet sponge enemies and they just take tons of bullets to kill. But like at super high levels, it's all the same. You die just as fast as they die. The action keeps going, and I find myself not really needing to change myself all too much. But there are a few key things that I did pick up that made my time in survival just glorious. Okay, so let's start with the special. So I start with Strength 2, Perception 9, Endurance 4, Charisma 1, Intelligence 5, Agility 3, and Luck 3. If you notice, that's pretty much the same build of the Commando build. The only thing that I've done is I've cannibalized Agility and Luck for 2 extra points of Endurance. And that helped out because when I was sprinting all the time, my stamina bar didn't just disappear instantly. I also had a lot more health in the early game to keep me alive, which, I mean, it doesn't seem like it helps, but I'm pretty sure if I didn't have it, I would have struggled a good bit more. Okay, so when I made the build, I really didn't spin the perk by level. I just went on ahead and held me 5 points, and then when the game got just unbearably hard, then I would buy what I needed to keep going. And that's why in the survival diaries, you guys would see that I had a whole bunch of perk points saved up. And that's basically because I build my builds based on like older Fallout games where there was a level cap and you have to be able to build the build perfectly, otherwise you end up wasting perk points. And like when the level cap was, I think, 30, it was pretty rough to make anything really interesting. Okay, but I've gone ahead and I've broken it down for everyone, so if you want to get them by level, this is the order that I chose. Okay, so number 1 is Bloody Mess, and the main reason is because of the extra damage. You're not gonna have to worry about your discipline quite yet. Basically, you just want to be able to kill things faster than they can kill you, because in the beginning with pipe pistol, it's rough. The pipe pistol is very bad in survival mode. I'm thinking it's because the enemy scaled quicker than the damage could keep up, because even when I had a really decent pipe pistol with gun nut rank 2, it was just getting me killed. I had to switch to the combat rifle almost instantly, and we'll talk about that a little later. Okay, so the number 2 perk is the Discipline. For me, it's always going to be Riflemen first. I'm thinking about going with pistols next, but that probably won't be till later down the line, and that's just because pistols are VATS light, and like for ghouls and humans, they're pretty good, but for fighting a super mutant, it just does not work. So for you, if you want to mirror this build but you don't want to go with the Rifleman tree, then you just have to save that perk point from Discipline and then get your Discipline, because I don't know why, it was kind of stupid, but all of the disciplines level up differently. Pistols is the quickest, and I think maybe automatics comes second, and you have to go pretty far to get Rifleman, but it's worth it. Alright, so number 3, we're going to go with Gun Nut. And that's kind of self-explanatory, especially since you're running around with a pipe pistol or a pipe rifle. You want to make sure your damage is tops. Also, you could be wanting to use a hunting rifle, but most of the hunting rifles you find in the beginning aren't really equipped to be a sniper's rifle. So having that extra rank of Gun Nut never hurts. Alright, number 4, and this is my personal preference, just because I like to shoot in VATS. What I found is that VATS was real decisive in survival mode, especially when you had the high VATS hit percentages and the weapons with the high accuracy. So that's kind of really up to you, honestly. But I highly recommend concentrated fire, just for the simple fact that when the shit hits the fan, you want to be able to kill somebody like instantly. So you combine the concentrated fire with a headshot, and then you just pray. Alright, so number 5, Armor. And really, in the old game, I really wasn't too concerned about Armor, because when you get Ballistic Weave, it just trumps it. But the very beginning game is very rough, and you're gonna want to upgrade that leather armor or the metal armor depending on which you went with. I went with leather armor just for the simple fact that carry weight is abysmal, and if you notice, my build only has strength 3, so carry weight's non-existent. Okay, I guess I missed something, so I'm just gonna go back and talk about it. I used 1 point into strength for the baby book, and I went on ahead and saw Preston and got the bobblehead. Now do know that all you have to do is kill the raiders in the museum, take the bobblehead and leave. You don't have to engage with Preston. He can stay in the museum for the entire game. Okay, so back to the list. Alright, perk 6, sneak. Now in my playthrough, I didn't get sneak for a really long time, and I kind of want to hit myself in the face for that, because sneak would have made the game a lot easier. I would have been able to move a lot faster, especially the 3rd rank of sneak, which lets you sprint but doesn't give away your position. So like in a couple of survival diaries that'll be coming out in a little bit, you'll notice I'll be sprinting and then all of a sudden I'll stop and crouch, and then the enemy's like right in front of me, but he just doesn't see me. So sneak is essential for the survival beta, just because it gives you an advantage and an extra edge, but it does not always work. I'm gonna have to tell you, sometimes you're gonna have to be a gunfighter. You can't always sneak. Alright, perk 7, agility. Pretty much it's hard running around. What I did is I had a settlement system, and I guess I need to talk about that too. So when I first started the game, I didn't want settlements because I didn't want to have to go back and protect them, but then at the same time, it's really hard gathering scrap in the beginning, especially when you have to sleep to save and you're going out there far distances. Like, I don't know if you guys know who Wayne Gorski is from Gorski's Cabin, but that guy almost one-shot me. And I had been playing for like almost an hour, just running around picking up scrap. So you want to have a readily supply available of adhesives. So what I did was I set up the beacon in Sanctuary, and then I suicided my way to Satellite Station Olivia. Took my time, took it out, got the locket, and brought it back to Abernathy Farms. The reason I decided to go with Abernathy Farms is because it had Connie Abernathy, and I could buy things from her. So got Abernathy Farms, did what I could to set up the adhesive farm, but really all they have is Tatoes. So I had to go on ahead and run down the Grey Garden, which you guys probably saw in one of the survival diaries. I got caught stealing or something and they all mowed me down, but brought the mud fruit back, grew it up, and then as my settlers came to Sanctuary, I would just send them over to Abernathy Farms because it was easier to defend, because Blake Abernathy can go and work the guns or the guard post for you and give you at least 6 defense. Okay, so I guess we can get on to the next perk, but you're just going to want to know that you're going to need a settlement system. You're not going to want to eat the food. The food is not good for you. Honestly, you're probably going to want to go on ahead and get the book that gives double food. I don't think it's in Gorski's Cabin. I believe it's in Sunshine Tidings Co. If I'm wrong, I'll put an annotation. Alright, so we're at perk 8, and it's agility. And pretty much it's hard not having a car in the wasteland. I was running and running. I even had a house in Hangsman's Alley, and it works out really well. That's actually my permanent residence. Even though it doesn't have all the crafting facilities, it's great for like Vertibird to Hangman's to Diamond City, and then from there you can kind of stab out, because I was running over to Good Neighbor sometimes. With a lot of agility, you can get places. Alright, so perk 9 is going to be the discipline. For me, it's Riflemen's. It's a really good perk, just for the simple fact that you get more damage, and then now you're cutting through enemy armor. That's what I couldn't figure out. I had to look it up. So perk 9, Rifleman, great call. Alright, so we're at perk 10 now, and my recommendation is Action Boy, for the reasons I spoke of earlier. I honestly would have gotten it before the Rifleman, but I need Rifleman. Those guys were out there just, and I think I still was using pipe pistol at this time. It was real bad. So I went on ahead with Action Boy, and what that let me do is start making moves, because what was happening was I had to sprint from Abernathy Farms to Sanctuary, and then from Sanctuary all the way down to Hangman's, because without having the charisma, I couldn't get the supply lines, and without the supply lines, I didn't have that synergy of junk. So I'd get a lot of junk, but it might be like way over there. So I went with Action Boy. That cut down the running time. And also what was happening is I'd be running and then get ambushed, and then I'd be like crouching and hiding, and then I'd get enough action points to refresh. Okay, so at this point, the specials looking Strength 3, Perception 10, Endurance 4, Charisma 1, Intelligence 5, Agility 5, and Luck 3. So next we're going to go with another point of sneak. This is Perk 11. And really what it is that super mutants got X-ray vision. And I think they have Perception 15 or 20 or something. I don't know, but they can see through walls and get you. And honestly, in the survival mode, super mutants are going to probably be your worst enemy. Super mutants and robots. I found myself having a real hard time killing rust devils. Rust devils are a real interesting mix in the survival beta because they're random and you don't really know, and they just kind of pop up places with overpowered sentry bots. So you're going to want to be real careful about the rust devils. And honestly, you don't even have to do the automatron for them to start showing up. They will just be out there. All right, Perk 12, Gun Nut. And the reason for this is that the pipe rifle was going to get us killed. We were never going to make it with it. So we had to move on to a new weapon, namely the combat rifle. I'm still using the combat rifle because 45 ammo is just everywhere, and then the damage is fine. And honestly, I'm thinking about going get the Overseer's Guardian and then adding that to my kit. But you know, it's gun nut because I have a sniper's rifle this time. My first playthrough, I didn't have a sniper's rifle. I didn't need it because I could close the distance, but in the survival beta, it's too dangerous to close the distance. So I like a little bit of standoffishness. When they get upset, they rush me, and then that's when my concentrated fire comes into play. And then at really high levels, I'll be able to kill entire camps with the sniper's rifle in VATS without even blinking an eye. Alright, so we're at Perk 13. This time we're going to go with Armor again. Normally I don't really mess with it. I would have waited a little longer, but I needed deep pockets. I needed deep pockets because with the low strength, see, this is the bad part of my build, and I'm going to go ahead and point out the bad parts, is that I have the low strength, and it's just I don't use melee weapons. I don't want to use melee weapons. I do know that melee weapons are overpowered in the end game of survival mode, but I don't know about the beginning game. Okay, so now that I've said that, we're gonna keep on moving. Perk 14, Cap Collector. So we went on ahead and we needed the new weapon. I wasn't able to find any in the timing I needed, so I just purchased one, and it was actually rather cheap. What was really good is that by that time we were living in Hangman's Alley, and there were all these enemies around us, and all we did was we just went out there, we killed all we could, we took all the loot, we went back to Diamond City, and we sold it off. Because we had Cap Collector and we wore as much charisma boosting clothes as we could find, which I think gets us to like charisma 4 or something, we actually started making a little bit of money. I actually make a lot of money now, and I still only have charisma 1, and that's basically because I got the 2 ranks of Cap Collector. So I run around with 3,000 caps on me most of the time, and then like I find myself just buying what I need, like addictols and antibiotics, because you find a lot of them and making them's kind of a pain. And I don't like that they made you have to have chemists, because that's a real big commitment to your intelligence. So Cap Collector, it's cheap, easy, and you know, you can use the caps for more than just healing yourself. Okay, so we're at Perk 15 now, and it's going to be Bloody Mess again, and it just speaks for itself. It's extra damage, and you're going to want that extra damage. Even though you have that new fancy rifle, you're still going to need that extra damage, because super mutants are really hard to kill. In the end game, they just die like normal enemies, but like in the beginning, although I don't think I've seen an Overlord. Well, I've seen an Overlord get it in melee, and it was interesting. Alright, Perk 16, Endurance. It just pays to be fit in the wasteland, honestly. With that extra point of endurance, you're not burning your stamina as quickly, which is really good, because you know, I had Action Boy so I could get the refresh rate, but I needed to be able to get more distance, and I'm going to be picking up more of these. I think my goal is endurance 10 by the end of it all, so just that way you just have maximum sprint, and then combo that with some power armor that does legs, and moving targets, 3rd rank. Okay, so we're at perk 17. Again, for me, it'd be discipline. So I'm going with Riflemen again, more damage, more cutting through enemy armor. I think you have the ability to stagger at this level, which can kind of save your life, especially if you have a shotgun. I actually went and bought a special weapon for the first time this game. I went and bought the Justice from Penny in Covenant, and there's a survival diary where you see it saves my life. It was good stuff because it staggered and threw back the enemy and gave me that extra second. All right, so we're at perk 18, Action Boy, Action Girl. So you just need it because you're running, and you're still running. Even if you have Vertibird support, the Vertibird can't go everywhere. That's what I've noticed. And then, like, if you've never been there before, you still have to go there. Like, I want to go get the Luck bobblehead, but I'm gonna have to literally run out to Spectacle Island. All right, perk 19, we're going with Sneak again. Basically, super mutants see everything, but with this rank of Sneak, you really start seeing the difference. Like, you can kind of be stupid with it and get really close to people. One time I was full on sprint, ran right into some gunners. I was like right in front of the guy, crouched and backed up, and he's like, what was that? What was that? Both of them died. All right, so at this point of the build, we're doing enough damage and we have enough protection to survive. I do hope you guys go and get ballistic lining. I guess that's a personal choice, but it was like the first thing I did in the survival beta. It was really easy, honestly, especially if you do it at a low level, because if you don't do it at a low level, those scents get kind of serious and then you have to kill them with shotgun. So perk 20, I went with lockpicks. Basically, you just needed to get in, and then at a certain point in the game, because I had such low charisma, I didn't even want to chance it. I just wanted to get inside Kellogg's house, so I get a couple of these as we go. All right, perk 21, Mr. Sandman. Because you have all that sneak and you have a silenced rifle by now, you might as well take advantage of the extra sneak attack damage. I didn't really notice it in the beginning, especially on raiders, but like gunners with their extra armor, it helps out a lot. But you don't really notice it all too much. I didn't really start noticing it until my 2nd level. Now, I do think that Ninja might have been a better choice, but I don't do melee weapons, so I thought it'd be slightly of a waste, and only it would be 2 more points of agility. Now, I am planning on getting Ninja later in the game, so I'll probably have to do a 30 through 60 just to tidy up ends and really finish the build. All right, so we're at perk 22. We're getting a sneak again, so I think this is our 4th rank of sneak. Basically, what's happening now is that you can sprint into enemies and they literally just won't see you, or mess up and just start backpedaling and then they don't see you, which is really good. One time in a tight confined area with a super mutant suicider, I made a huge blunder, but I was able to recover because he didn't see me. Okay, so perk 23, we're gonna hold it. Okay, we need 2 perks for the next level. Perk 24 and 24-2 is going to be gun nut and armor. By this time, you have to have your ballistic lining, namely because bullets are just going to cut right through you, even in the full set of metal, which is great. Why not have ballistic lining underneath it? And it's really easy to get. I mean, it's really easy, especially if you make your base at Good Neighbor. Okay, so start at Good Neighbor, start your railroad missions. Eventually, they're going to give you Ticonderoga Safe House, which is a great safe house. It's like right in the middle of that little island. And then from there, you can go on ahead and finish all the missions, because all the missions are kind of centered in that area. I was able to get ballistic lining for, I think I got it about 22, level 22, and then I just kept waiting because there was no point in me doing it without having level 3 armor. Also, fun tip, while you're living in Good Neighbor, scrap up some money and buy you a shipment of ballistic weave. You can buy 25 ballistic weave for, I think, 1100 caps if you have cap collector, and then that's your hat and your shirt right there, so no need for hunting for military grade duct tape. Alright, so we're at perk 25. This is concentrated fire rank 2. This is when it really starts to pay off. You start noticing, because instead of 10 you're getting 15, and most of the time I get 75 or 65, so 2 to 3 shots on the head is good. And then you have those new weapons with the higher accuracy because of your gun nut. I found that once I hit this point in the game, I became overpowered to enemies because I could use my rifle in the beginning to be standoffish. Whenever they got smart enough and tried to find me, I could pull the combat rifle and just start vatsing heads, popping them, saving ammo, the whole nine. Alright, so perk 26, we're going with lock picking. You just don't want to be denied access to anything. For me, it was doors, because I just wanted to get into places, especially when like there could be a bed through that door. Alright, so perk 27, we're going with cap collector again. The main reason I got it is because I was about to get real expensive, because I needed a lot of weapons and I needed a lot of augments for the weapons. So having more caps for your loot is always a good. Alright, so perk 28, we went with Mr. Sandman again, and honestly it started coming in handy. It would start popping these super mutants. I got a video in the survival diaries where it shows off. We were at that we were doing the Brotherhood of Steel quest. I can't remember the satellite station's name, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. We were doing that quest where you go and look for the distress pulsers. And I killed everybody from the outside. I had some Brotherhood of Steel help, which is alright, you know, I'm okay with that. That dude suicided, but... So we're at perk 29 right now. It's lock picking, and my main reason for getting it at that point is I just wanted to get inside Kellogg's house. I didn't feel like going to talk to the lady. I didn't want to have to try to pass speech challenge. I wasn't going to waste my berry mint, or my berry mentats on that. Alright, so we're at perk 30, which is actually level 31, and for me it was just my final one. It was my final point of Rifleman. It rounded off my damage, and it's just a good look. So from this point on, I'm holding perks again, but I'm thinking about fixing my luck because I don't have Grim Reaper Spirit yet, and Grim Reaper Spirit is a really good perk. Not only does it fill your action points, but in the last rank it actually can refill your crit meter. So what ends up happening is that you just start going to work all the time, and like you'll crit a headshot, get a Grim Reaper Spirit and another crit, and then just do it all over again. It's really good for Super Mutant Overlords and Super Mutant Primuses who were just bullet sponges, period. Anyways, this video's been going on long enough. I hope you guys enjoyed. In the description, I'm gonna have the full list of perks and the specials as we go through. I'm keeping the diaries going because now that I got vertibird transport, I'm able to do things. I'm still deciding if I want to go on ahead and fix my charisma, but I might just wait for a really long time before I finish the game. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.